Qatari leadership have just exposed how they are manipulating Tucker Carlson. Yep. And I wouldn't have believed this if this wasn't caught on camera in this interview. A Qatari exiled whistleblower has just told the world that everything that's going on with Tucker, you know, the craziness of him going from this rational, logical, intelligent persona online to this man who wants to make love to Sharia law and get all of us to believe that burqas are wonderful, who's currently in Qatar interviewing the prime minister or the president, who's gone so nuts, so not just anti-Semitic, but just pro-Sharia law and Islamization in the most insane way. It's all happening because of Qatari control, and this is coming from them. It's not even coming from us. And guys, I was not expecting my day to go this way. I just wasn't expecting this information to come to light. And boy, oh boy, am I glad that Erin Molan is doing her show and interviewing these people, giving them a platform to share the things that they're sharing. Guys, this is insane. We are living in insane times because all of these theories of people out there controlling the world and trying to bring their crazy ideologies and infiltrate into the West, they are being proven true every single minute of every single day. And now it's proof, concrete, right in front of us. Somebody telling us actually what is going on. And yes, it's going to blow your mind, as it blew mine. So first, before we watch it, have you followed the channel? Are you with us? Are you on our mission? Are we united in trying to change the world and bring back rational, radical commentary? You know we are. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Guys, prepare to be...
Talk to me about someone like Tucker Carlson, who seems to have changed his tune entirely when it comes to Qatar. And look,
First, this is Khalid El Hayel, the president of the Qatar National Democratic Party and leader of Qatari opposition in exile. Okay, this guy is saying what's going on in Qatar, and he's been exiled because of it. Are you ready? Because I wasn't.
Don't know what his arrangements are. I haven't seen any evidence of anything, but there has been a significant change of tune from him when it comes to his narrative and his coverage of Qatar.
There is an investigation is going on now by Khalid Al Hayel Institute, and there's I can't say much about it, but I've been investigating this matter for a very long time, and it was a bit of a strange thing for me and for many others. But when you start linking things together, and the way he shifted, and the timeline, you will understand that Qatar has a big hand on it. And I definitely, I'm very certain, without the core evidence, let's say, but I'm certain.
And we make that very clear, absolutely, yes, speculation.
Yes, but I am certainly sure that they have a hand somehow on that. Because if there were no financial benefit for Tucker Carlson, there wouldn't be a big shift like you saw now. So the issue is he's not only pro-Trump, but he was on the right camp. Qatar recently shifted a lot of people from the right camp to their own camp. And in the near future, we will see what exactly they've been doing. And I'm sure I can't say much, but there is certain things is happening that it will be revealed soon to the world. I'm very sure about that.
I look forward to all of that coming out. We've got to wrap up, but I want to ask you, is there a target on your head? Does the Qatari regime want to get rid of you entirely?
Hold up. Before we find out if this guy's got a target on his head, did you guys hear what he said? That there is no reason for Tucker Carlson to do this except for a financial benefit, and it's going to be exposed soon. And this is coming from somebody from within. Do you also notice how nervous he is to say this in case he gets in trouble? And Aaron's like, yeah, let's just clarify that this isn't official. Tucker Carlson changed his tune publicly for money. It's simple.
Definitely. They are defamating my character for many years. And they've been attacking me in different ways. In the Arab media, they say he's a pro-Israel puppet. He's a propaganda machine for Israel. For example, in the Qatari, within Qatari people, oh, this guy's a puppet for Saudi Arabia or the UAE. In the West, in America, they pay people to say, oh, they are part of our regime, but say it indirectly. So to undermine him and to make people to fear to deal with them. So this is the way they do. But we know all these tactics is old story, is nothing new. We will
They're
fight it.
always, always, always trying to make it that anybody who speaks out against them, oh, you're pro-Israel. Oh, you must be manipulated by Israel. But guys, this Tucker Carlson thing is simply explained. There is no way that a rational person goes from being so intelligent, so capable, so wanting to fight for the truth, to then doing these ridiculous and abysmal and embarrassing interviews. It's not that he's coming in with a strong intellectual hardline. That would be one thing. It's not that the man's converted to Islam and he really believes it and he has strong arguments on his side. No, he's just doing these ridiculous interviews with these different people. Look, I'm all for free speech. You're allowed to. But it's embarrassing him. He is publicly humiliating himself every single day. He is publicly proving that he is willing to sell himself out completely for some unspoken agenda, which we now know is Qatar. And yes, we know that there was that guy who funded him, who's like involved in his new Tucker Carlson wants to build out this network, and there's a Qatari guy that funded. But that's not what this guy's saying. He's saying that real evidence is going to come out soon of a big Qatar plan that they have. And that Tucker Carlson, if you look at the timeline, is directly aligned with that. And that they're trying to create different camps. That we have all these people on the right who were on the right and logical on thinking about things, who have shifted not to the left, but to just a Qatari camp. And I wonder to myself, not just how somebody like Tucker Carlson sleeps at night, how he feels about manipulating the world for his own personal benefits, but actually how he's not just so mortified and ashamed, because everybody can see it. We can all see how he's changed, and we can all see how bad he's become at interviewing at journalistic integrity, how he's out there fighting for the America First camp, and yet right now he's in Doha interviewing their prime minister and sucking up to them, saying things like, I'm buying a house here, or maybe I've been gifted a house here. I don't know. I don't know at this point. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing with Qatar, well, we've spoken about the fact that there's like a 50-year, 100-year plan by the Muslim Brotherhood, and we're 50 years into it. We're now seeing the literal direct results. You realize Qatar house Hamas. They house the terrorists that they pretend to negotiate for. They are masters of manipulation and of shifting things around to make them look like the good people whilst trying to sow and reap just immense amounts of havoc in different Western societies so that they're easier to infiltrate in the future. It's a joke. And if I was Tucker Carlson, I'd be so humiliated. This interview, by the way, with Erin was absolutely superb. Not just because she gets this piece of information out, which is enormous, where the guy literally says, yeah, you're going to find out soon about something that's going to be exposed, in which we know that Qatar is behind this crazy shift of Tucker. But watch this part as well.
Talk to me about why this regime is not legitimate, why they are not what they paint themselves to be in the Western world. And I use the example of the latest peace deal where they painted themselves as these peacemakers that were there to help. When they themselves funded the October 7 attacks, they harbored the leaders of Hamas, yet they pretend to be the ones that care deeply about trying to create peace in a region where they are on the other side creating all the chaos.
Let me ask you a question. If there were no Qatar, or there were no Hamas, let's say, will Qatar has any role in any mediation?
No.
The same thing happened with Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and every single terrorist front. Syria, for example. The word...
Is he saying that Qatar intentionally created this so that they can put themselves as the peacemakers? That would be nuts.
was accusing Qatar of funding terrorism in that time, which is Al-Nusra Front. And what happened after that? Qatar promoting them and putting them on the table of Trump. So it's not an accusation, it's a factual information. The Qatari regime existence is based on terrorism. If there is not existing, the Qatari regime is not there. There's no mediation. Let me explain to you how they think. 2010, I was sitting with Tamim and his brother in that time. And one of our drivers from Eritrea, and I want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard of Djibouti and Eritrea conflict?
No.
No. Who on earth care about that? So basically, let me explain to you how Tamim think. We were sitting, Tamim and his brother, and one of the drivers from Eritrea, and he was explaining that they have a conflict, border conflict between Djibouti and Eritrea. Tamim jumped, said, "Oh, we can solve it. We can solve the problem." He was in that time the crown prince of Qatar. Now Hamas, they saw, okay, so the West, they're giving this case importance, so we have to be there. Every single relationship Qatar had before with any regime, like from Gaddafi regime, Saddam Hussein regime, they just betrayed them. They betrayed them. They betrayed that regimes. Even Gaddafi regime, they were in a strong relationship with them. They were sitting in secret tables. They were making conspiracy against the other GCC countries, and I exposed them. I am the one who leaked the record of Gaddafi, between Gaddafi and the leaders of Qatar. And it's made a big issue in the Middle East in that time. And it was the base of the main conflict in 2014. People forgot. Yes, we played a big role in exposing the Qatari regime. It's in all Arab media mainstreams. You can go there and check that records and see how they operate. So yes, we did achievements in exposing the regime of Qatar, but they are trying to undermine us in every single movement. They are smart. They're spending their money to do one thing. Example, in the Western America, I was shocked to know a few days ago that they are promoting to some people in America that I am a front for the Qatari regime without saying it. They pay people to say, oh, this guy is being created by the Qatari regime to go and just pretend there is an opposition of Qatar. And
Guys, listen. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What this man is saying is very simple. We look at Qatar and think to ourselves, oh, they're so nice. They're intentional mediators. They're coming. They're trying to sow peace. They have their own agendas, but that's okay. No, he's saying something way worse. He's saying that they intentionally create conflict so that they can come in to solve that conflict and therefore be sitting at the big tables. And without conflict, they can't succeed. They can't be at the table with Trump. They're saying this about him. Instead of Qatar just disregarding him, they're saying, no, this is a guy who's actually a front. Qatar's created him. They think about it completely differently. They warp it. When we look at conflict and we think bad, they think, oh, opportunity. Let's create more conflict. Think about it. If they had successfully negotiated the hostage release, they would have become irrelevant. So there's no way they could have successfully negotiated it. They needed to keep on prolonging it. And with Tucker Carlson, they know that they can become the topic of conversation by sowing more and more and more problems. That's their strategy. Create problems and then come in and try and solve it. Create all of this fighting between the Republicans and then host them in Doha for this massive event that they've got going on. This is disgusting.
that's an absolute bullshit. What they're trying to do is in undermining every single opposition they face. They are hacking people. They are terrorizing people. Even Karim Khan's story, you've seen it in the Karim Khan, the judge in the criminal court. They hacked him. They hacked me. They hacked a lot of their rebels. They have no morals and no ethics.
So, Khalid, you're preaching to the converted with me. I get it entirely. These are the same people, again, who fund terrorism and harbour terrorists.
That's
so you don't
crazy.
need to convince me that they are evil. I believe that wholeheartedly. How does it change? And talk to me about the people on the ground in Doha. You look at the Iranian regime, over 80% minimum despise that illegal regime. They are not the legitimate leaders of Iran. Is it a similar situation in Qatar? Do the majority of people want there to be democracy? Do they want their leaders harbouring terrorists?
Let me explain to you the way Qatar operates before we jump into that moment. So Qatar has something called original Qataris and the Qataris, the migrant Qataris who came recently, like 20, 30 years ago. So Qatar, to make balance, to control the country, they replaced the original people with people with outsiders. And what they've done, when the election happened in Qatar, the first democratic election, 2021, which they promised from 2013, the majority of the seats was from so the whole election was based on the original Qataris. They excluded the other people. So when that happened, the majority of the seats gone to the people that oppose the Qatari regime and the Qatari mentality. And what happened after? They canceled the election. They canceled the whole election. Even in the army of Qatar, they intentionally mixing foreigners with the locals because they know for a fact that the Qatari people, the original Qatari people, they condemn the Qatari government actions. They are acting solely like it's an absolute monarchy system. So the guy, he decides what's happened. He will decide what's coming up next. The Qatari people are not Muslim Brotherhood. We are not Muslim Brotherhood. We are not Islamist. We are not extremists. It's the regime and their affiliates. That's the problem. So if you talk
That's
about
always the problem. It's the extremists, except for the fact that in radical Islamist terms, the extremists are about 200 million in number, which creates a bigger problem, if you get my gist. Guys, we at the West have a problem that we tend to think that we're so sophisticated that everybody around us are just not. They're just not as intelligent. They're not as thought through. And I think it's time that we all recognize that what we're up against with Qatar is not just a group of Islamists who, they want to be jihadis, but they have a lot of money. No. These are sophisticated people with sophisticated tactics who have managed to take over not only their own societies and shift it around for political needs, but have cast their tentacles everywhere, including to people like Tucker. And I am not excusing that behavior under any circumstances. I think Tucker is absolutely despicable and it's an abomination. But that's what's going on. We've got mass infiltration by Qatar. And here's an interesting idea. I heard this recently from Douglas Murray. He spoke about the fact that anti-Semitism is a mirror, okay? It's not what most people think it is, an indication on how the society is doing. It's a mirror to people. When people say that a certain group is doing something, it normally means that that's what they're doing. The fact that out there, the world believes that Israel are the ones controlling the media, who's behind that narrative? The Qataris, because it's the Qataris who are out there trying to control the media, who are out there trying to infiltrate and change our politics and create havoc and basically destroy our societies within. That's what Qatar is doing. And they're hiding behind these big, beautiful events, inviting these influencers, specifically Republican American influencers, to see their amazing countries, to see their society. And they're getting to people like Tucker Carlson. It's an abomination. It's a disgrace. And honestly, my belief is that anybody who has been found out to be receiving any sort of Qatari funding, they should go to prison because they're acting as spies. This is no different to the Cold War. This is Cold War II, just with Islamization. And everybody needs to be on the same page about this. Thank you for your attention to this matter.